Hi, my name is Susan Miller, and I'm the host of Propel Pittsburgh, which is an episode on Bethel Park TV. And we focus on the stories of entrepreneurs and why they started their businesses. We provide these stories so that you can be part of their journey and understand why they started their business and how they're helping others with their business. Welcome to Propel Pittsburgh. We are an episode with Bethel Park TV, and I am the host, Susan Miller. And we tell the stories of entrepreneurs and their why. Why did they start their business? And we do this so that the community can get some insight about these entrepreneurs and why they started their journey so that you can be a part of that journey too. So I'm excited to bring our guest today, Christina Soderberg from Align Consulting. Now what Christine does is that she's very passionate about helping small business owners, and what she does is provide resources and partnerships and funding to help them become or stay sustainable. So I'm going to ask you to give us a little bit more insight on that. First of all, tell us your why. Why did you start this business?
Sure. So Align Consulting is a strategy development and program implementation company. And so just in communities, for many years, I've seen things, what I call community disconnects, where there are great infrastructures put in place, great programs put in place, but then the resources to get to the needed audience, there's a disconnect. Mm-hmm. And so with that, Align Consulting comes alongside different organizations, nonprofits, industries, and makes that connection for them. So one of the things that we are doing is called Align to Meet a Need. So this is something above and beyond what we work with industries and organizations. And so with this, it is just providing a solution and connecting small businesses to current resources that are out there for those businesses to maintain at this time.
Wow. And that's great. And so that's what drove you to start this business, which is great because there are so many resources out there that people are not aware of. So you really, bring that to the front to help these business owners.
Absolutely. And just, seeing the infrastructure of different systems that are put in place within industries or organizations and helping them come alongside them, designing comprehensive solutions to those organizations and industries in the areas that they're looking, and then expanding from there and making a profound community impact.
Nice. Yeah. So you also provide strategic support for a lot of these businesses and nonprofit. And what are some examples that you do with that?
For example, we'll come in and we will assess at various levels how their business is running, the infrastructure of their processes, of how they are doing different lines of business, for example, or nonprofits, how they're reaching their customers or clients. And then we work with the executive teams and come up with identifying and marketing the solutions that need to be in place. And then we come alongside them to implement that strategic solution.
Great. I like how you really jump in and provide solutions for these businesses and nonprofits too. So you're solving problems. When you contacted me, you're really passionate about getting some information to some small business owners because what you're running into is that this information is available, but there's so much miscommunication on what is available, how they can access, who it benefits. And so that's what we're doing today is you're going to highlight some resources that are available for small business owners, nonprofits, and some other organizations, and how they can tap into it. So what's the first one you wanted to highlight? I know it was the PPP loan?
Yes, the PPP loan. So a lot of times, so the new PPP loan came out in January 11th. And with that, there are some new things in place to make it more accessible to small businesses. It's been opened up to nonprofits, independent contractors, and sole proprietors as well, and they can apply. And so there are 7 things that have changed that are new that make it easier and more accessible to small businesses and nonprofits. So as we go through those, one of the changes is the application takes 10 minutes to fill out. There's 24 weeks to apply the full expenses and salary costs instead of 8. New business expenses are included. So for example, with the PPP loan, you can have it 100% forgivable if you maintain 60% of those funds to your payroll and 40% to business expenses. And the second round, you get even more business expenses that you can apply for options. If you've applied for the first round, you can apply for the second round. The application process itself takes days instead of weeks. The first time around in March and April and May, it took 4 to 6 weeks. And then also restaurants and businesses that are hotels can apply 3.5 times the average monthly payroll up to $2 million versus the 2.5 times.
One of the biggest differences that you're saying is you know, that sole proprietors can now apply for this?
Correct.
And what are some of the other things? I know you had mentioned that before.
Sure, nonprofits, including churches, and then also independent contractors.
Okay.
So
that's a big difference now.
It
so
is.
Basically, everybody should be applying, is what you're saying.
I strongly suggest always seeking out your CPA first, but absolutely. It is
Okay.
and it is a 1-page simple process.
Okay.
So
to apply, you recommend going to your CPA, or what are some other resources?
well, to apply, you'll want to go to your bank institute. So wherever your business account is where you want to go, because that's where the applications are being run through. And with that, you will also, if you have questions directed with a couple of IRS forms that you may need, your CPA is a good resource for that.
Okay.
You may already have those in place and know exactly what you need. It's very simple. So you want to make sure that you have a business account set up with your bank institute. If that bank institute does not have the PP loan application, you can find one that does, and you can apply for a business account, and after 10 days, so the 11th day, you can apply for the PPP loan.
Now, I do have a question because I remember when my husband was applying for the first round, our bank did not offer it. He tried to go to another bank and, you know, he had to open up the account and he didn't want to go through that process. Is there other resources? I know he went through another resource. Are you familiar with other resources that are available if you don't want to go and open up an account with a bank?
Not at this time. That's really where they're streamlining things.
Okay.
However, the banks have made it a very simple process.
Okay.
Very simple process.
Okay. So what's some other information that you can give us on this?
So for new borrowers, the maximum amount that you can borrow is 2.5 times your average monthly payroll, up to $10 million. You have to have 500 or fewer employees, and you know, accommodations and food service operations with fewer than 300 employees per physical location can apply. For second-time PPP borrowers, it is still the 2.5 average monthly payroll, but it's up to $2 million instead of $10 million. And you have to have 500 or fewer employees versus 300. And then you have to have used or will use the full amount of your first PPP loan. And then also just show a 25% gross revenue decrease comparing quarters, one quarter in 2020 compared to 2019.
I think that's different too. Isn't that part different?
That part is different. It simplifies your ability to get the second loan.
Okay.
Yes.
Now I see that the deadline seems to have it has a longer deadline than the first one too.
Correct, it does. So the deadline is March 31st, 2021. So you want to make sure and get your application in before that. And one of the great things with the application is they respond within 24 hours.
Okay.
And then instead of 4 to 6 weeks to get that process going, it's 2 to 3 days or up to a week. So it's very fast.
Now, what about follow-up on your process? How's the follow-up on checking on your application?
The institutions that you go through, they send you emails right away, and they keep you in that process. So there's usually a 3-step process. They've received the application within 24 hours. They say that they're processing your application, and then they send you another email with information on when you will be getting your funds.
Great. Great.
So it's very simple this time.
Now you have you also have information on what they'll need to get did you cover that yet?
No. So it's a very simple process. It takes about 10 minutes. So you need an active business account with an institution because that's where the money is deposited. And then you have to make sure you've been in business February 15th, 2020 or earlier, obviously. And then you have to be able to provide an overview of a payroll statement from that time frame of February 15th, 2020, just to show verification. It can be something as simple as invoices, bank statements, a page from your QuickBook or accounting access, and then a 2019 or 2020 IRS form specific to your corporation, sole proprietorship, nonprofit. And those are things that you've already done within your business, and so you just pull from that.
Okay. Now this is a loan, correct? So there is a percentage that has to be paid back. What is the interest rate on that for paying
It is pretty low. It's generally, I do believe, under 3%. However, 100% of it can be forgivable. And that's if you take over 24 weeks, 60% applied to payroll, your payroll expenses, and then 40% to business expenses. So it is 100% forgivable.
Okay. So that's a lot of great changes to make it more available to more business owners. So
Yes.
everybody apply for this. It's even with the extended deadline, more availability, more more options. Something everybody should be considering in business.
Absolutely.
Now you also bring additional information. I always like lots of information. I'm like a human sponge, so I'm just load me up. But you also came with information about the Pittsburgh Foundation. So I'm a little familiar with the Pittsburgh Foundation, but
Sure.
I was just talking with a group of executives, and they did not know about the Pittsburgh Foundation. So educate us what the Pittsburgh Foundation is, what they're doing, and how is it going to help other people?
Sure. The Pittsburgh Foundation gives over $50 million in funds to area nonprofits, which is amazing. And so they have 4 main areas that they look for within the nonprofit organizations in our area. So self-sufficient individuals and families is one, healthy communities is another, vibrant democracy, and community projects. So if your nonprofit focuses on any 4 of those entities and there's broadness within those, then apply. What they have done has been great in the fact that they've created 3 grant cycles throughout the year. So if you miss the first window, you have a second or a third window, which is amazing. And they've simplified the initial application process as well, just with everything that's going on with our economy, so that they can get the funds to those nonprofits.
Right. I think that's a recent change because I've been following them.
Yes.
But I believe that change in the application process is new for them. They really simplified it, and it's quick responses too. They really tracking your application.
Correct.
They've streamlined that process.
Correct.
And I think that's what sets them apart is the different cycles too, because a lot of grant money, if you miss that window, then you're done,
Right.
So you have to wait
Right.
until next year.
Right. Yes.
So that's what's nice about the Pittsburgh Foundation. And,
Right.
from what I'm learning too from them, and maybe you can verify this, they seem like they have resources in place to educate you a little bit if you need that, a little bit of insight of
Yes.
what you should be doing or direct you on how, is that correct?
It is correct.
Okay.
Yes, they have great resources and just connections to your nonprofits to help you expand and grow.
Right. They
within
seem
your
to be
community.
very focused on making sure that you're included in that process, where a lot of it, you don't figure it out, so sad.
Right. Right.
So that's
Yes.
the impression I got from the Pittsburgh Foundation. They really do care. They're really there to help,
Yes.
and they have the resources and the funding to do it. So.
Absolutely.
So you also came with information about the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development. So tell us about that.
Sure. So that is just a great avenue to get information, updated information for businesses and nonprofits. Their department also has grant funding that comes through them, and they did that throughout 2020, and so be looking for that. Be visiting their website and getting that information on possible upcoming grants for your businesses, small businesses. They also provide great webinars that are free. So they even have one coming up on the 18th about PP loans. That's an hour. So it's 1 hour giving you more information on PPP loans, and it is free.
Wow. I always like to learn one new thing a day, so that's my new thing that I learned today. That's valuable information right there. And just the fact that they provide education that's free is, powerful, because we can always use more education. And you also have information about the Allegheny Conference on Community Development. I don't know about this one either, so I'm anxious to hear about this. Tell us about it.
Yes, so they are a resource again for businesses and communities. Community projects, for example, in our area. So they have general funds and grants listed as well, and they did a very good job in 2020 of making sure that was another resource and avenue for small businesses and nonprofits to get information like that. So continue to check their website as well, because they do have up-to-date information on that.
So this is all really great information, and again, this validates why people want to contact you, because, I knew about some of these. I didn't know all the details,
Sure.
but you even brought to the table information I didn't even know about. So there's probably several other organizations, business owners that don't have that information. So you're really the connector to the resources that are out there. And if they need additional support, you can provide, step in and provide that strategic process to help them implement those plans. So, so you also offer support in addition to resources.
I do. Yes. I do. Yes.
So, I also want you to tell us a little bit about the programs that you have.
City Unites model.
Yes.
Yes. So one of the things Align does is we come alongside nonprofits, just 1 or 2 a year, and we help them with strategic planning and project implementation. And so we're currently doing one and working with one, and we're working on a City Unites model. And so it's a way for this particular nonprofit to bring in the awareness and bring the community together to raise funds for area domestic violence shelters.
Tell us about what you're doing right now and the deadlines today, and who it's benefiting and how they can get involved with that.
Sure. So it's called Pittsburgh Unites, and local area businesses, Permane Brothers, Clementi Museum, Engine House 25, Parma Sausage, Monami Chocolate, and Presscraft have come together to all bring an amazing box of wine and product to Pittsburgh community people. And this raises funds, so all of it, they're sold, and they raise funds for the Women's Center and Shelter of Greater Pittsburgh, which is an amazing opportunity to just raise awareness for the Women's Center and Shelter of Greater Pittsburgh, and also just bring the community together in a positive light.
And it's supporting small businesses.
Absolutely.
And it's giving back. And I'm a huge advocate about that. If you ever have to buy a gift, why not consider a gift that gives back? I mean, it just, it's a, you know, a win-win for everybody. So I love this concept that you guys have developed, that, you know, you're bringing the community together. It's supporting the small business owners and giving people within the community an opportunity to get something nice, but also give back. So that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So I know that you guys do some other things, some other projects. What are some of, could you name off one of the other ones? I don't have the list, I'm sorry.
Sure, no, that's okay. So one of the things we've done is work within the infrastructure of hospitals. And so the virtual volunteer program is one of those. And so that takes 3 socioeconomic groups. You have your medical staff, patients, and volunteers, and connects them again. So what we found with the pandemic and COVID-19, there's social isolation and CDC guidelines put in place, and necessary operations and procedures put in place for hospitals that no longer allow volunteers to come in on a regular basis to help fill different and various needs for patients and medical staff. And so this is a creative way to be able to implement that into hospitals.
And that's just an example of one of the strategic processes that you guys have developed, correct?
Correct.
So this is just a great example of what you guys do then.
Yes.
So that's awesome.
Yes.
So I like to end our interviews with something fun and silly. So people get to know you on a personal level. So,
Sure.
I don't know that, well, people don't know this, that you're flying back and forth, you know, from Florida to get this launched here in Pittsburgh, because you're not originally from Pittsburgh. You know, what are you guys trying to do? I know that you're flying back and forth, so you're developing this here. Tell us more on that, and then we'll go into the funny part.
Well, Pittsburgh is an amazing city filled with rich culture and history. And so with that, the connections that I have here have just been flying back and forth and making those connections to build the City Unites model for Pittsburgh Unites, but then also to just connect and network within healthcare.
Okay. So you're flying back and forth from Florida to here to Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Do you have any Pittsburghese that you have picked up yet, or?
Yins. So that's one.
And what is your? I want to hear a funny Pittsburgh story, because I think you've been flying back and forth for a couple months now. So
Yes.
you're almost a regular yet. So
Yes.
what's you have to tell us at least one funny Pittsburgh story that you have come across since you've been here.
Oh, well, putting me on the spot right there. So I've been coming for quite a few months now. And just as I get to know the city more and get to know just different area businesses and just owners and things like that, you know, you have to see the Steelers Stadium, right? and so I haven't been able to see the inside of the Steelers Stadium, but, you know, just walking around the Steelers Stadium and going into the pro shop and just even looking through the windows. So I had an employee come up to me and say, "What are you doing?" And I was trying to see the inside of the stadium. So, you know, that's something that, you know, the Steelers Stadium is an icon here.
Right.
And they're a great team. And so, you know, just wanting to see that stadium.
Okay. And it makes sense because I'm from Florida, so I am a transplant. I've been here since I was 18, so I'm pretty much native now. But
Sure.
one thing I've learned about Pittsburgh, they love their football, and
Yeah.
it's a given. You have to love the Steelers, and I always joke that if you don't have your Steeler wear on, they will kick your butt.
I have been given Steeler wear already.
They will come after you, so you better be wearing it.
Yes.
It's not it's not an option. You just have to love the Steelers.
Right.
But I've always loved the people of Pittsburgh because they're just down to earth, loving, great morals, great values, hardworking. I've always said that, they're not afraid to get up and take your fight on,
Right.
And that's why I love Pittsburgh. So,
Yes.
I came here to Pittsburgh and now fell in love, and I'm not going anywhere. So,
I keep coming back.
and so I've been personally trying to follow up with you when you're here, because
Yes.
I want you to fall in love with Pittsburgh too. So we're going to make her a transplant too.
Pittsburgh already has part of my heart. I truly, it does. So it truly does.
So, and have you eaten any of, I'm sure you've had the pierogies and everything. What's some of the Pittsburgh food you've had so far?
Oh, yes.
Because that's a big difference from down South Florida.
It is.
I do miss my Cuban food down there. But
Oh, yes, we have good Cuban food. Wedding soup. I'd never heard of wedding soup, so I experienced that. Primanti's. You absolutely have to have a Primanti sandwich, and it is large, but it's good.
It's crazy good.
It is.
It's a crazy sandwich, but it's crazy good.
Yes, with the different combination, you wouldn't think so, but it really is.
And you know what's funny is I had the one down in Fort Lauderdale. There was one on the beach, if it's still there. It didn't taste the same. I don't know why. And I'm like, why? And they said something about the sea level and the bread rising or something. It just tasted different. So
That makes sense. Well, and then Mancini Bakery. Their
Did you get there?
Oh, yes. And they're actually a part of the Pittsburgh Unites, too.
Okay.
And their bread is amazing. So, yes.
They are the top dog. I
Yes.
mean, there's a lot of great ones, but
There are.
But they've been around for so long too. They're a family-owned business, and I'm always drawn to that. They're a family-owned business, and they've been around for a very long time,
Yes.
forever. I think they've been here forever.
Since the 1920s, I do believe.
Yeah,
So,
they've been here forever.
Yes.
So, but there's a lot of other great companies too. So we'll have to do a bread tour.
that would be amazing.
So I appreciate you coming out, and and I appreciate everything that you're doing to help small business owners, nonprofits, making them aware of resources that are available. And with that being said, I want to ask you to tell people how they can get hold of you, because you have all these resources and you can let people know by email what resources are available. So how can they tap into some of that information that you have?
Sure. If you go to our website, alignconsultingteams.com, and go to Contact Us, you can put in your contact information. In the messages, put in grant information, and you will be put on a list, and we'll send out resources that are up and coming over the next 6 months.
And that's been, I just got on the list, and it's been valuable. And it's almost like, hey, this is going on, and you better do something about it. So it's really not just even an FYI. It's even the message is like, hey, this is going on, and do it now. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I appreciate you coming out and educating us and helping, like I said, being a force here in Pittsburgh. Even though you're not a transplant yet, and helping the people here at Pittsburgh. That's amazing. Thank you for watching for Propel Pittsburgh today, and I would like to give a special thanks to our guest, Christine Soderberg from Align Consulting, and continue to watch our show. You can see us on Facebook, YouTube channels, Verizon, and Comcast. And we'd like to thank our sponsors, the Women's Small Business Association and Steer Business Consulting.